Today I want to share a very special flight with you that I've been meaning to take for a long time. It all starts on a cold, dark morning in Kathmandu, Nepal. Good morning from the Kathmandu airport domestic terminal. I'm going to take a Mount Everest scenic flight today. When I arrived at the airport at 5:50 a.m., it was still about 4 degrees Celsius or 39 Fahrenheit. You have to go through a security check and your luggage has to go through X-ray to enter the terminal. I paid 180 US dollars, which is about 160 euros or 250 Singapore dollars for this flight. I went to the Yeti Air check-in counter. This flight that I was taking is also called mountain flight. There I received my boarding pass for flight 303. Now everyone on this flight gets a window seat. I had to pass through a second check-in hall for other airlines and then through a security check to finally get to the small departure hall. Now this is the same departure hall that I had been at a few days earlier when I flied to Lukla, the world's most dangerous airport. I will publish a flight report about that later. I got a cappuccino to warm up as the inside of the terminal is also quite cold. What I really liked is that Yeti Air gave a map of the mountain peaks so that during the flight you can follow along. As is common in Nepal's Kathmandu airport, boarding is always done by bus. And here is our plane, a British Aerospace Jetstream 41. Hello 9NAHV. This airplane has been flying since 1995. The initial 11 years of this airplane were spent with Trans-States Airlines in the US. This is an airline that still today operates many of the United Express flights. Therefore, it's very likely that this aircraft spent the first 11 years of its life flying around the US. It was great seeing other local airlines pass by as we were boarding. Our airplane was in a 1-2 configuration, but as I mentioned before, everyone gets a window seat. The windows were initially still frozen, but before takeoff they unfroze fairly quickly. We took off on runway 20 in a southern direction. Unfortunately, I could not track this flight on Flight Radar 24, but here is an estimation of the path that we took. Initially, we were very far from the mountains. I struggled a little bit trying to match the mountains on the map to what I saw out of the window, but the flight attendant was constantly walking around the cabin explaining to people what they were seeing. Let's talk a little bit about this airplane. British Aerospace manufactured the Jetstream 41 between 1992 and 97. It can fit up to 30 passengers and has a range of 770 nautical miles, which is approximately 900 miles or 1,400 kilometers. As I was sitting on the left, I saw the mountains on the eastbound leg of our flight, which was the first half. And the mountains were getting closer and closer. Every passenger on this flight will get a chance to view the cockpit, and this was the absolute highlight for me.
Good morning. Press on the left through this house. Okay.
That's
Beautiful.
Volcano one to the right is Makalu.
Yeah.
And straight is Kathmandu, that's the third highest.
Okay. What aircraft are we flying today?
It's a British aircraft, Jetstream J41.
Okay. Are we flying on VFR entirely or?
Yes, it's VFR.
Okay, the whole flight?
Yeah.
Okay. Ah, wonderful.
Welcome.
How long have you been flying?
I've been living 34 years.
34 years, wow. Initially, when I saw Everest, its peak was still in the clouds, but the view cleared up pretty quickly. Enjoy these views of the Himalayan mountains of Nepal. Now, to be honest, this was very cool, but we were still around 55 kilometers or 34 miles from Everest. So my expectation that you get to see Everest from up close was not really met, I have to say. We made a big U-turn to the left and started heading back west, back to Kathmandu. And on this return trip of our journey, the people sitting on the right got a view of the mountains. Champagne was served for all passengers, and we received a certificate commemorating this special flight. We cruised for most of the flight at an altitude of 7,200 meters, which is around 24,000 feet. Sitting on the right would have been better, because on the return flight, you're a little bit closer to the mountains and therefore get a little bit of a better view. I bought my ticket for this flight at the Yeti Air shop in downtown Kathmandu. The price that they quoted me was initially higher than what I saw online, but when mentioning this, I got a 10% discount. About an hour after taking off, we touched down back at Kathmandu. Now, it's noteworthy that there are several airlines that offer some form of Mount Everest flight. Back in Kathmandu, the flight was good, but I'm not sure it was really worth it because you only see the mountains from very far distance. Nevertheless, good experience. But if you do take the flight, I would recommend to try to get a seat on the right side, or maybe this is right on the video, I don't know. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed and thanks for watching.